1, 2, 3, 4. Those are numbers, but you already knew that. If you want to know what number you're going to pay each month for your car, use Kelley Blue Book My Wallet on Auto Trader. They're really good at numbers. Auto Trader.
Hello and welcome to Unequal Sequel
Extra.
Hello everyone, welcome. It's that time of the week again where we just talk bullshit about some kind of sequel, ramble, news, stuff.
Yeah, we do.
My name is Dave. The other voice you can hear is Rich. Say hi, Rich.
Hi, Rich.
We are a well-oiled machine. And welcome. It's welcome all. Welcome. Rich, what are we doing today, mate?
Something that I'm very excited about, because turns out that 15 years ago this month, one of my favourite sequels was released. It's 28 weeks later.
It's a good film. Well,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's a good film. I think I came in a bit strong there. Like I said, it's a good film. It's a good film.
It is a good film. It's probably not as good as the first one, but it's still a very good film.
Before we really delve into it, can you just remind the audience the storyline of this film and maybe the storyline of the first film, and maybe just give it a nice little bundle present with a bow on top about everything about the 28 days / weeks later?
Yeah, okay.
No pressure.
No pressure. So, okay, we start with the first film. 28 days later, essentially somebody wakes up in hospital. Somebody, played by Cillian Murphy, wakes up in hospital and the whole world is desolate, essentially. What has happened is a virus has spread across the UK. I say the whole world. It's not the whole world. We find a virus has spread across the UK. It's called the Rage virus, and essentially turns people into very fast-moving zombies, but not zombies because they're not dead. They're not reanimated dead people. They are alive people with the Rage virus. So you don't have to chop their heads off or any of that zombie lore. You can kill them in the same way that you kill other people. But they essentially they are filled with anger and want to kill and destroy everyone they come into contact with. The virus is incredibly transmissible, so yeah, bodily fluids essentially, which doesn't help that the infected essentially vomit blood at people, which then infects them. He kind of there's just some beautiful scenes of him walking through London.
It's amazing.
Meets a couple of fellow survivors who help him then to kind of escape the city. They meet there's some people die. They meet a father and a daughter, and they head towards Manchester, where there's a signal being broadcast saying, it's safe here, you can get here. And we all know signals that say they're safe in a zombie apocalypse, even though this isn't a zombie apocalypse, are never actually very safe. And spoiler alert, it's not very safe there.
It's got Christopher Eccleston in.
Yeah, Christopher Eccleston being creepy Christopher Eccleston, as he does very well.
Who else in this film? Very young Naomi Harris as well.
Naomi Harris. This is where my love of Naomi Harris started.
Really?
Yeah.
What year was this? 2002?
2002, yeah, the first one. So that is 20 years ago, the 28 days later.
Oh, yeah, good point.
It's young Naomi Harris. It's got Brendan Gleeson, Donald Gleeson's dad.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he was in it.
Yeah. There's a few other people that you'll probably recognise from some British TV shows and stuff, playing soldiers and things, but nobody epically famous. And then, obviously, things ensue. Naomi Harris and Cillian Murphy end up in a remote cottage in what looks like Scotland, and it ends with essentially a fighter jet flying over. There are alternate endings. There are some alternate endings, but that's the official kind of canon ending. Is that it ends with they put a big sign saying "help" and a fighter jet flies over. So you think, right, okay, they're going to be rescued. And then this movie, this sequel, doesn't have any of the characters from the first one in at all.
Nope.
No, completely different, but it is set in the same world and it is a continuation. It's obviously 28 weeks later, so like 6 months-ish into the infection. NATO have kind of taken over. The American army have come in, and Britain is essentially infected free. The infected have starved to death. Essentially, all the infected people have died, or so they think. And actually, I've skipped the start, haven't I? Because it starts with Robert Carlyle and his wife with some people in a house, and the infected break in, and essentially Robert Carlyle cowardly abandons his wife in the house and legs it. He's not a sympathetic character in this movie at all. Then we cut to London, the Isle of Dogs, which has been made a safe zone, and lots of people living there.
And this is the 28 weeks later bit, right?
This is the 28 weeks later bit, yeah. So it's a safe zone, and like his kids come back who've been in Spain.
Oh, they were on a school trip, weren't they?
They were on a school trip in Spain, so they were safe because Spain wasn't infected. It was just the UK. And yeah, so they come back. Essentially, he tells them their mother's dead. They want to go back to their old house, so they escape and they go back to their old house, which is in London, handily. And they find that actually their mum is in their old house and isn't dead because she has got some sort of mutant gene which makes her a carrier, but with no symptoms, essentially, to the virus. She's then brought back to the safe zone where Robert Carlyle gets his comeuppance. Essentially, he kisses her and is infected because she's a carrier, and then he goes berserk and kills her with his rage virus. The rage virus then spreads through the safe zone. All these things happen. Find out essentially one of the kids at least is also immune to the virus. So it becomes very valuable. So there's Jeremy Renner and
the cast is
cracking,
insanely good. This is early work for Idris Elba, Rose Byrne,
Rose Byrne,
Imogen Potts or Poots, however you say her name.
Poots, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah.
But
yeah, it's Rose Byrne, isn't it? Who's the doctor who kind of gets them out, and the whole thing ends with a group of infected running out of a metro station in Paris. So the infection has spread after all.
Yeah, because the people who survived the end of this movie went to Paris, went to France.
Yeah, they did.
So obviously the little kid must have kissed a French girl, or
coughed on one or something. I don't know, but yeah. Coughed in the helicopter that they fly across, and yeah, it's spread to France.
Yeah, I was just looking at the budgets of these films. Incredible. 28 Days Later, $8 million.
$8 million, £5 million. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
and then this one, the sequel, was $15 million.
I know. Nothing. It's nothing, is it? It's just so little money. So the reason that I love these movies, and that the reason that I'm yearning for a third part, is that 2002, before I went to university, and lots of things had happened in my life, and I didn't really know what to do. And I saw the making of it was a documentary about the making of 28 Days Later before the movie had come out. The movie was not in cinemas, and it had Danny Boyle talking about how they'd done these shots in London, and they'd done them at like 4 o'clock in the morning when the sun was just coming up, and they'd shot roads, and there's some amazing shots of London being empty, and they did it on so little money. And I thought, God, that is actually doable. You could actually make a movie. And they shot them on Canon XL1 cameras. Did they? The reason that I finally decided to go to the University of Gloucestershire is because they had Canon XL1 cameras that we could use as students to shoot stuff on. And I thought, it's good enough for Danny Boyle, it's good enough for me. And that's how we ended up meeting Dave, is that, all because of 28 Days Later.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Begs the question, why didn't you do film production then?
I did media production. It was I wanted to do a bit of everything.
You wanted to learn more about the films, like mise en scène and shit.
Yeah, I did film studies and media production. So I didn't just do film. I did TV, radio, and graphic design as well. So
Oh,
it
was
a
the
bit of
graphic
everything.
design? I never knew that.
Yeah, graphic design too. Yeah, could have done photography, but didn't. You'd only choose one or the other. So it was all lots of mixed media.
So, what was your first screening of 28 Days Later like? Do you remember?
I remember I watched it at the cinema, definitely, and I think I watched it on my own in the cinema as well. I think it was one that I went to watch on my own because no one was really that fussed about it, and I was like, how do you convince people to go to a British zombie movie? Nobody was really that bothered. But yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I came out thinking just in awe of that movie. And yes, there are nods to the kind of George A. Romero kind of zombie genre, but they're not they're not zombies that you'd ever seen before. You'd never seen kind of, and I know it's not a zombie movie, but for all intents and purposes, it is kind of a zombie movie. You know, it's kind of infected people that then lose it and kill other people. And yeah, I was just in awe of it. I absolutely loved it. It's beautiful. It's beautifully shot and horribly violent.
Yes.
There are. I mean, I actually think that the second one is scarier and more violent than the first one.
There's a point in the second one when the snipers just get told to shoot whoever, and it gets really bleak really quick. I mean, the point in Manchester in the first one with Eccleston when you realise the humans are just as worse.
Yeah. Like in every zombie movie, the humans actually turn out to be worse than
what's outside the other side of the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you're right. It is the London stuff I think is what it gets remembered for mostly now.
Yeah, I think so.
Because getting London looking like that is a near impossible feat.
There's such good performances in it, though.
Oh, yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. I mean, 28. Both of them, actually. There's great performances in both movies. And I think I know we're talking about 28 weeks later now because it's a sequel podcast, but I think the thing that it does is that it's in the same way like Aliens and Alien, it's a completely different type of film to the first one.
Yeah.
So it's not about that kind of waking up and everything's empty. This is about the repopulation. This is about the kind of like institution almost and that falling apart and that struggling to cope. Not just someone on their own. It's not one person's journey. It's a whole. It's bigger than that.
Were you disappointed at all that it didn't follow the story on from the Cillian Murphy, Naomi Harris farm?
No. I think from what I've read, there's potentially a third one. Danny Boyle has apparently a script for it, and Cillian Murphy's said that he's up for coming back.
I think these work. I really think these work as different stories each time.
Yeah.
So, Cillian Murphy is an amazing actor, and I'd love to see him. I probably would like to see him back into this world, but it wouldn't annoy me to just see another chapter with completely different actors dealing with a completely different situation.
And, set somewhere different potentially. Maybe set in Italy or, It's
got to go global now, yes.
Yeah, I mean, 28 Days Later did incredibly well in America. It only really launched over here, and there was a limited release in America, and it did so well it ended up getting a full release. So it made like from an £8 million budget, it made like 85 million, I think, something like that.
We've got to remember in the early 2000s, zombies were a hot property. Because,
not until after this movie.
Well, we had Shaun of the Dead. You had the remake.
Shaun of the Dead's after 2002. Though.
Remake. I think it was before you went to uni. Remake of Dawn of the Dead as well, and there's lots of other rip-offs. But this is, I would say, the classier one.
I would say this relaunched the genre
just because it was so low budget as well, and they stretched that budget so far.
Yeah.
And even on the sequel, and before in 2007. I didn't see either of these in cinema. Did you see the sequel in the cinema? Were you?
I did, yeah.
First day kind of guy?
In Cheltenham, actually, yeah. Because I was still living in Cheltenham then.
And what were you? Did you drag anyone with you? Were you by yourself again? Were you carrying?
Probably my girlfriend at the time.
We're going to see another zombie film. It's going to be brilliant. And what were your expectations going into it? Had you watched the trailers? Have you?
No, you know me. I don't like. That's
watching true, but did you know it wasn't Danny Boyle?
Shaun of the Dead, 2004, by the way.
What year did we go to uni?
2003 we went to uni.
Yeah, we must have been off some holidays. Because I definitely saw it in Stilford.
Yeah, 2004 Shaun of the Dead, so 2 years later.
So were you annoyed that it wasn't Danny Boyle? He's a producer, but sometimes that's just
and he had a lot to do with it. I think he chose the director, didn't he?
And who is the director? What's his name?
He's not done anything else since. Like, not that anything that I know of. Anyway, it's
No, I just want to see how you pronounce his name.
Oh, for God's sake, I don't even know what his name is. I know it's triple.
Juan Carlos
something or other.
Fresnandilo.
Yeah.
Sorry, Juan, I've absolutely butchered your name there.
Juan Carlos. Yeah, Fresnadillo. Yeah, something like that. Fresnadillo, I would say. Anyway, I don't think he's got a big back catalogue.
No.
I don't recognise anything he'd done before or since.
He seems to be working in TV a lot.
But very good.
Very good.
Like, for, very well directed movie, I would say. And a different, like I say, different to the first one. I find it, maybe because it's got kids, maybe because the main kind of people, your main characters in that movie are kids. Maybe that ups the stakes. But
it's also their fault. Everything that happens is from them.
Yeah, it's all
breaking
their fault.
the rules.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah, it's all their fault. Well, I mean, if you want to go back, it's all Robert Carlyle's fault, maybe. But
yes,
yeah, it is. It is.
We should talk about the opening, because that opening is a cracker, isn't it?
It is an absolute cracker. Yeah. So, and again, that's a little boy as well, the opening. So Robert Carlyle and his wife and a few other people are holed up in this house, and you think it's night because they've barricaded all the doors and stuff and the windows. But there's banging on the door, and it's a little boy, and Robert Carlyle's wife wants to let him in, and Robert Carlyle just wants to leave him, which I think, strikes me as he's not a good dude.
Yeah,
at this
that's
point.
The first notch.
Yeah, but obviously the wife wins. They let the little boy in. Turns out it's blinding sunlight outside, like it's like a bright summer's day, which is a real shock when they open the door. I think that's the first kind of shock of it, isn't it? That the bright light coming through the door. They bring the boy inside. They feed him. He explains how his mum and dad and his sister have turned and have been trying to kill him, and he's run away. And yeah, of course they've followed him to the house, basically, that somehow, and the infected all kind of break in.
They're insanely strong, these infected people.
Yeah, insanely strong as well. So they don't feel any pain, they just feel complete and utter rage. And so they break in, they kill everyone apart from one guy, and you find out there's a boat on a river, and that's their escape plan. They're trying to they want to get to this boat, but then Robert Carlyle and his wife end up upstairs with the little boy. The wife goes to save the little boy when, again, Robert Carlyle wants to leave the little boy to die, but the wife goes to save the little boy, and so Robert Carlyle leaves his wife
to die.
Just leaves her to die, and runs away, jumps out of a window, runs away. She's kind of banging at the window, and he looks back and just keeps on going, and you just sort of see her kind of disappear really quickly from the window. He runs away, manages to get on this boat, like essentially murders the other guy by knocking him off the boat into a river full of infected. The river is full of blood. It's incredibly iconic. You see this massive barrel roll of blood as he's kind of speeding away. And you just sort of see a shot back to the window, the empty window.
Because normally Robert Carlyle, it's one of those castings when you think, oh, Robert Carlyle's going to be this. He's going to be the hero.
Yeah, he's going to be the hero. He is not.
Straight away they go against type kind of thing. They're like,
absolutely.
He's not going to be the hero of this story.
He's not at all the hero. Like, when I think about zombie movies and or this type of movie, I always think I would not last very long, because I am a fighter, not a runner.
Yeah. Well, I'm slow.
I would be the guy that stands and goes, right, I'll take him. You get going.
I'd be the one making the poor decisions.
Yeah.
Like, this be a safe space, and it's like a house full of glass, and then people can just smash through it, kind of thing.
I thought you meant like broken glass. Like,
no.
This will be a safe space. It's full of broken glass and nails.
Yeah, this is a good place to hole up. No.
Yeah, I'd be the guy that stays behind and holds all the zombies back
and dies
whilst everyone gets away and dies. I would definitely ultimately die. Although I do have a plan.
I want to hear this. What's your zombie plan?
Isle of Wight, mate. That's my plan.
Okay, you're in London and your plan is to get to the Isle of Wight.
Well, I wouldn't be in London. But, yeah.
Okay,
My
so
plan
you're
would
in
be
this film.
Get to the Isle of Wight. Via the Isle of Wight, I would stop off in Southsea, where I used to live, and raid. There's a gun shop in Southsea. Fishing tackle and guns. Raid that. Get on a boat to the Isle of Wight. You can slowly pick off any infected that are on the island. Plenty of holiday homes that would be empty. It's not a huge population, but big enough. Lots of farms and stuff to keep you going. Lots of wind power and stuff to keep you going. And also the Solent is rough enough, essentially, that it would any kind of George A. Romero zombies would be kind of like broken up if they tried to cross the bottom of the ocean. The pressure of the sea would smush them.
You're thinking slow zombies, not quick zombies.
I was thinking slow zombies, but fast zombies like this, I'd just be fucked. To be honest, I'd just be buggered. I'd just have to try my absolute best to make sure that my wife and kid get away.
What's so scary about these versions of zombies, the rage zombies, that you can get infected so easily? They're like
so easily. They don't have to bite you. They literally just have to spit in your face.
Blood,
yeah,
semen, I guess.
So there's the guy. It's in 28 Days Later, the first movie. Brendan Gleeson gets infected because he looks up and a drop of blood drops from a body hanging above him and drips in his eye, and that's how he gets infected.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It is, yeah.
What scenes stand out for you in 28 Weeks Later?
I think where all of the survivors are herded by the military into like the warehouse.
Yeah.
And of course you know what's going to happen. The Robert Carlyle kind of breaks in from another set of doors, but the scene is so powerful because it isn't the infected killing people, it's the uninfected trampling on others and the squishing noise and stuff that of people being trampled. That's kind of sticks with you, essentially. And the little boy manages to escape by like getting up into the vents and stuff and getting away that way. But
he's very lucky, that boy. He gets away on a few occasions.
Very lucky. But there's also the night vision bit in the tube. My God, that makes my heart go just thinking about it.
Just crawling around in the dark.
You just see like a figure just walk, like in night vision, just in the background before any of it happens. Like a good minute before any of it happens, there's a figure in the background just walks across. And you're like, holy shit. Did I see that? Did I actually see that? What's going to happen? Is it going to just be and they don't bring it. They leave it for what feels like ages.
Yeah. And then Roseburn dies, doesn't she, down there?
Roseburn dies, yeah. She saves the kids, essentially, doesn't she?
What do you think of the London geographical use in this film?
Oh, it's ridiculous. They somehow run from the Isle of Dogs to Wembley.
Via Regent Park.
Yeah, via Regent's Park.
And then from St Paul's they walk to Regent's Park, which isn't the most impossible walk.
No,
but it is
but Wembley is far.
But Regent's Park to Wembley is far.
Yeah.
Yes, that's. But it's not like for bad. Where
no.
How do I get to Greenwich? Oh, just 2 stops in the Circle Line.
Yeah, no, but it's a British movie, so they should get it right. But
it's a British movie, but with the Americans kind of being the bad guys because it's an American-led NATO.
Yeah,
adventure.
True, it is.
And at one point, they're just told to fuck everyone up because they don't know who's infected. It's at night. They got snipers and they're just picking everyone off.
Kill everyone.
And that's where Jeremy Renner's character comes. Well, he's in it before, but he makes the choice not to just willy-nilly kill everybody. He makes a decision to help some people survive. And there's people in this film that you keep thinking, oh, they're going to survive because it's who they are. It's the character they are. Like, it's the military guy. But no, he gets burnt alive.
Oh my God, Jeremy! That was my next thing, actually. Jeremy Renner
by the cleanup squad.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
fucking brutal. And this is early Jeremy Renner. I think this is before Hurt Locker.
Yeah,
by a couple of years. I thought he was great in it as well. I like Jeremy Renner.
Everyone's great in it. Everyone is really good in it.
When Idris Elba popped up, I was like, oh.
He's not really in it though, is he? Very
no,
much.
But he does his part very well.
He does, yeah. He's like the commander who orders everyone to fire on
District 1, whatever they call it.
And then I mean, there are some unbelievable. Obviously, there's lots of like leaps of faith you have to take in this. Like, you know, an old Volvo V70 is not going to keep out poison gas. But
You always go to the cars. My boy knows cars, guys. I don't. I'll be like, oh yeah, this is believable. Windows, that keeps that shit all out.
But yeah, I mean, there are a few like stretches, like you say, like the geography and stuff as well, and yeah, and the flying the helicopter through a field of infected, and somehow infected blood not getting on you, like that seems a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, bit much.
The helicopter
maybe,
bit when he's just cutting everyone up, that's just...
Yeah, when he's just chopping everyone up. I was like, not sure that would work. I don't know.
And Wembley Stadium looks in really top nick for a stadium that hasn't been touched.
Not actually Wembley Stadium. That's the interiors of the Millennium Stadium. So that where it says Wembley on the seats, that's digitally put on.
Oh right, well
they shot the outside of Wembley,
yep,
but the inside is all the Millennium Stadium.
Oh, there you go, guys. I didn't know that. I just thought, I thought that'd be overgrown or looking a little bit more tatty than it would do, as it hasn't been touched in. I suppose it's only been 28 weeks at that point.
Yeah, it's about 6 months, I suppose. And if it's been,
I was thinking about the film because the film's 5 years after the first one.
Yeah, but it's not 5 years in the story.
No. So if there was a sequel, would you go 28 months later, or would you wait a few years and do 28 years later?
I would like to see 28 months later, I think, personally, because that's what, two and a bit years. So I think that's a nice time. However, I wouldn't be opposed to 28 years later. I'd like both. I'm greedy. I'd like both.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a little bit we've seen World War Z kind of at this point, the Brad Pitt film. So they've got to do something a little bit different to that, because I feel that's where 28 months later would go, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? A little bit
maybe.
Travel hopping between countries to see how people are dealing with the infection or how it started there.
But the infection's very different, isn't it?
They're still running zombies in World War Z.
True.
In the film they are. I can't remember about the book.
No, I don't know. There has been a graphic novel of 28 Days Later, but I haven't read it. I know it exists, but I'm not sure what the story.
28 Days Later, The Aftermath? Is that where?
That's the one, yeah.
It's on IMDb.
I think it's between the two. I think it's between 28 days and 28 weeks.
To be fair, on IMDb there is a 28 months later placeholder, and someone's done a poster and they've said it in. Yeah, it must be fake because it says the rage infects Europe. It's got the Eiffel Tower in the middle with the eyes and the badge.
Okay, yeah. Like I say, Danny Boyle said he's got a script, so crossing my fingers. If anyone out there's listening, please make this movie. You can make it for peanuts.
That comic thing is from day 29 to day 32 or something.
Oh, okay.
But you really would like one, would you?
I would love
Danny
one.
Boyle
I
back
really
to
would.
direct, or would you?
Definitely Danny Boyle back, yeah. Made on a tight budget again, so they have to be really creative. You know, made on a good small budget, proper kind of British indie movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I don't mind if it's a continuation of the first one. I don't mind if it's a completely different story. I don't really mind. I just need more of that world.
Yeah. Because they make the infected look so good. They look so scary. And I think the use of running rage people makes it more intense than sometimes the slow ones.
And the quick shots, the moving camera, you know, the reason they had to use those small cameras is so that they could do those moving shots. You know, they couldn't do that. You know, that jerky cam is almost kind of documentary style.
Well, like you said, when they did the first one, not many films were shooting on digital. Digital was so new, wasn't it?
No, definitely not. They did do a bit on 16mm film, so the stuff in the house with the soldiers and stuff is on 16mm film because they're a bit more stationary then.
They had time to set up cameras, not like they did.
Exactly. Yeah, they couldn't just. Yeah, it wasn't like stealing 45 minutes of.
I heard. I don't know how true it is, but to get the traffic to stop, they got bikini-clad women to hold up signs, just to say. We're shooting for a movie for like 2 minutes and then we can...
Wow, I didn't know that.
I don't know if men would be like, oh yeah, I can stop for this.
Maybe they did that. I don't know. I've not heard that story.
And we also stole some of the music for one of our films at university.
We did. I haven't talked about the score yet. The score is incredible.
The score is insane.
I didn't know that music was written for that movie. Like, it's so iconic in my brain.
Do you know that's where I stole it from?
No, I didn't. I knew it was on. I knew it was from the movie. I knew you'd stolen it from 28 Days Later, but I didn't know it was written for the movie. I thought it was like, I don't know, some masterpiece that someone had made, and it is a masterpiece. The score of both movies, 28 Days and 28 Weeks, is wonderful.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the best British films in the last 50 years. Like, is that a big statement? 28 Days Later.
Big statement.
It's definitely going to be up there. Do you not think?
It's definitely, absolutely it's up there. And I love it, but there have been a lot of very good British films, mate. What are you talking, like like Nil by Mouth, or, any kind of...
I would say that's very British, yeah. Not an easy watch, though.
Not an easy watch. Well, I think really good British films aren't an easy watch. Any like
a Mike Leigh film, or
Mike Leigh or a Ken Loach film, or just like what's the recent one about benefits? What was that called?
I, Daniel Blake.
Daniel Blake. That's a cracker. There's some very good. We do make some really good movies. Hey, Still Crazy is one of my favourite movies. With Nail and I.
Yeah.
I
suppose what you could say is a British film now, because kind of Harry Potter is a British film, because it's a British production company,
made here,
all here, mainly
British cast, British and Irish cast.
It just shows how far the British industry, I would say, has grown in the last 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even a lot of American movies are shot over here now because tax breaks and stuff, aren't they? So
go tax breaks.
Ka-ching! Tax breaks.
Thank you, Marvel. And Disney. It's a cracking film. How do you recommend this to people? Because I still think this sequel is not a known sequel.
No, I think you're probably right, actually. I think people probably passed it by. It certainly wasn't... I don't know, do you think it was as critically acclaimed as it wasn't as critically acclaimed?
I think it did all right, and it still made a pretty big budget for...
Yeah, it made a decent amount of money, didn't it?
It's not talked about as much as...
I think because maybe because it wasn't so groundbreaking as the first one, potentially. Because once you've done it, you can't be groundbreaking again in the same way. And it probably because it wasn't Danny Boyle, I suppose.
I think that's a big part of it.
I think that's probably a big part. But that doesn't diminish it. It's still a great sequel. How would I recommend it to people? I would say if you like The Walking Dead, if you like Hot Fuzz, if you like...
Hot Fuzz?
Not Hot Fuzz, sorry. Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, but hey, if you like Hot Fuzz
as
well.
Yeah, like Hot Fuzz as well.
But if you like Shaun of the Dead, if you like any of those George A. Romero movies, The Dawn of the Dead, that kind of thing, then you will like it. It's not a straight up zombie movie. It brings something different to the genre. If you don't like those movies, then again, this probably has something for you because it's just shot so beautifully. However, what I will say is if you're someone who can't take any blood and gore or any kind of jump scares whatsoever, probably don't watch it.
There's some good scares in this one.
There's some really good... Like I say, the second one for me is scarier. There's more jump scares, I think, in the second one than the first one. I feel more anxious watching the second one than the first one. I think the anxiety levels in me get quite high, but maybe that's, like I say, because there's kids involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a really, really good movie.
I think it's a really interesting sequel because it does a lot of the things that me and you talk about what makes it a good sequel. It takes the themes and the DNA of the first one, and then it tries something a little bit different. It goes a little bit bigger. I wouldn't say massively bigger, but it does.
Well, definitely bigger.
Yeah. I think it's really worth your time. It's been a while since I rewatched it, and I really enjoyed catching up with it again.
I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed it because I knew I loved 28 Days Later, and I'd forgotten quite how much I loved 28 Weeks Later. I knew I liked it, and then when I watched it again for this, I was like, I love it. I do love it. It's so good. It's an hour and 25 minutes.
No, it's not. It's an hour and 50, isn't it?
No, the first one's an hour and 50.
This one's an hour and 40.
Hour and 40, okay. So it's an hour and 40, which is a lovely length.
Oh.
I'm so sick of 3-hour films, honestly. Give me an hour and 40 any day of the week. You know, it just goes to show you can make an excellent movie that doesn't have to be really bloody long.
Yeah, I agree. Go check it out, guys. Go celebrate its 15th anniversary birthday with us. So, yay.
I think it's like the 29th of April is its actual release date, but hey, it's April. We're taking it.
Long story short, again, guys, we're doing everything possibly not to talk about the Nan movie.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Brett Goldstein. You are awesome, but we're not watching the Nan movie.
Not yet. Definitely not yet. I think, we've covered that pretty well, Rich. Do you want to do your thing?
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. If you like what you've heard, and even if you don't, then you can go back and listen to our interview episodes, because that's all about guests, not about us. You don't have to listen to quite so much prattle from us, really. So there's loads of interview episodes to go back and listen to. Get to your local pod shop and see what you can find. We're on your Googles, your iTunes and your Spotifys and all that sort of business. And while you're at it, give us a little rating. 5 stars, cheeky little like, hearts, winks, whatever it is you need to do. That would be lovely. And also, you can follow us on social media. So we're at Unequal Sequel on Twitter and Instagram. Or, if for some unknown reason you would want to, we have an email address, unequalsequel@hotmail.com. But there we go.
Beautiful. As ever, wonderful little wrap up.
And we will be back with series 3 of our interview episodes on the 25th of April. That's like three weeks-ish, Dave.
We really got to do something about that.
Yeah, we really got to pull our finger out.
Hopefully.
No, we've recorded loads of really good ones.
They are really good.
We have got some really good ones for you to listen to. So yeah, 25th of April, and over the next few weeks we'll be dropping a few hints about who we've got coming up. But yeah, those interview episodes are crackers. So make sure you listen.
Cool. I've got nothing else to say because you wrapped it all quite nicely there. So it's a goodbye from me. Bye-bye. And a bye-bye from him.
Bye!
See you next week. Bye.